Hey guys, Aaron Cybertron Zhang here, and today I am back with another Road to Ranked episode where I climb the online VGC 15 ladder and try out basically everything. As always, if you enjoyed the series and want to see another episode tomorrow, please leave a like on this video to show your support. It really means a lot to me, and let's aim for 500 likes on this video. Today I am changing Mega Evolutions, moving on from Mega Salamence. I might come back to it in the future, but today I'm going back to Charizard Y, which is definitely one of the most popular Megas back in VGC 2014. I think it's really good now. I'm going to find an opponent immediately, 1657 from Japan. My supporting cast is Bisharp, Sylveon, Landorus, Thundurus, and Scrafty, which is a pretty rare one. My opponent's got a really interesting team. He's got Hydreigon, Mawile, Rotom Wash, Gothitelle, Mawile, excuse me, I said Mawile already, Camerupt, and Mamoswine. So, two Megas in Mawile and Camerupt, definite Trick Room mode with Gothitelle. Just really interesting in general. I think I'm going to lead with Scrafty, and I would guess he's going to lead with Hydreigon and Mamoswine if I had to hedge my bets on anything. You know what? No, Sylveon's actually really solid as a lead. Sylveon Bisharp or Sylveon Scrafty? Yeah, you know what? Sylveon Scrafty. Charizard in the back and Bisharp as the last one. Yeah, I'm pretty good with those four. I guess it feels weird leaving Thundurus out in a match where Gothitelle has access to Trick Room, but Thundurus really doesn't like playing against Mamoswine. Mamoswine probably one of the best counters to Thundurus, which we actually saw demonstrated in the 2013 World Championships Finals, where Arashomati kind of ran through Ryosuke Kosuge with his Mamoswine, as Thundurus isn't really able to do much. Of course, you can swagger it, but you're only rolling the dice there. Landorus here would be decent for the Intimidate, but the 4 times weakness to Ice is really deterring me from bringing it, as well as Rotom Wash being able to take any of its attacks and, you know, respond back with a Hydro Pump or a Will-O-Wisp. So, this should be a really interesting match, though. Very cool to see my opponent have both Mega Mawile and Camerupt. If I had to guess, he's going to bring Mawile into this match, but I guess we'll find out soon. So I'm going to lead with Sylveon on Scrafty, getting an automatic Intimidate against, looks like Hydreigon and Mamoswine. So that is what I expected in Team Preview. So at least I called that correctly, and this helps out a decent amount because I get the Intimidate, and I get a free Fake Out basically this first turn. Now the question is what my opponent goes for. He's definitely in a pretty rough situation to start off. 4 in the back he had were Cresselia, Mawile, Camerupt, and his last one was currently blanking out. Should have written it down. Oh, Rotom Wash, right. So, Hyper Voice here is a pretty free play. But the question is, what do I want to do with Scrafty? I'm actually tempted to switch it out in anticipation of his Mawile coming in. Or even if Rotom Wash comes in. Yeah, I'm going to bring in Bisharp. He is going to withdraw the Hydreigon. And the Mamoswine's got to be protecting here. What is coming in? That is Gothitelle. Interesting. So, you know, obviously I'm pleased with that because Bisharp just came in for free, but the question is whether he attacked with Mamoswine or not. There's no chance he Earthquaked here. Oh, he went for the superpower! Onto my Bisharp, that's gonna knock it out. Certainly was not expecting that attack out of any from Mamoswine, but punishing my switch severely there. That's a curious and questionable play, but hey, it obviously worked out, so I'm not going to doubt my opponent's play there. But wow, out of any attack you'd expect from Mamoswine, that is the last one. But now I can bring in Charizard for free. Excuse me. Based off the fact that it's superpower, I'm guessing this is a choiced Mamoswine. So now I can just, I think I'm going to Helping Hand Heat Wave. No, you know what? I can just Hyper Voice and Heat Wave. Let's see if he stays in or switches out. Presumably he's going to switch out, but the thing is he doesn't have any safe switches in right now. And that Hyper Voice did so much damage that I got to tell. The Sylveon isn't even boosted by any item, which is what's really surprising. I'm actually running Citrus Berry on this Sylveon because it's more of a support one. Also has Helping Hand, of course. But super power coming out from that Mamoswine, picking up the KO there onto Bisharp. What a crazy play. I mean, it makes sense on my opponent's end, I guess, but the thing is, he wouldn't have been able to KO Scrafty or come even remotely close to it, so I was kind of surprised there, but I mean, hey, he punished my switch, so no complaints on his end. He is going to bring in the Hydreigon back in, so he's going to suffer a lot this turn because I'm just going to pick up 2 KOs most likely. Unless, of course, Gothitelle protects. And based on the fact Mamoswine switched out, I'm guessing it is Choice, and it probably has Rock Slide as one of its moves as well, so I've got to watch out for that. But I am going to get the Drought up, which is nice. And Heat Wave connects, which is great, and he doesn't protect with Gothitelle, as I pick up the knockout there with Heat Wave, and Hyper Voice here is going to knock out the Hydreigon as well, so very quick lead for me, 3-2, despite losing my my Bisharp early on. But you know what? I don't mind losing Bisharp because now I'm in a fantastic position regardless of whether he even brought a Mega or not. We're going to see Mamoswine come in. I'm guessing he has Rotom Wash in the back. But it is going to be Mawile, actually. Okay. So I don't mind seeing that one bit, as Mamoswine here is going to come in as well. Going to intimidate me, of course. But now I can just go for a free Hyper Voice and Protect. And I'm guessing that Mamoswine is Choice, so he's probably just going to go for a Rock Slide. But Sylveon outspeeds his Mawile, so I should be able to just knock out the Mamoswine with a Hyper Voice. Of course, I am assuming it is Choice, but even if he knocks me out here, I have a free switch into Scrafty, which can just Fake Out. So not much my opponent can really do, to be quite honest. And he does go for that Rock Slide, as I anticipated. It is going to connect with Sylveon. If he flinches there, he might still be in the game. But he doesn't flinch, and that's going to basically be GG, as I knock out the Mamoswine there with a Hyper Voice and bring it down to his Mawile. He's going to go for the Iron Head. That should knock out Sylveon, as it does, with a critical hit. But now Scrafty comes in, I can Fake Out Heat Wave, and he's intimidated as well. And it's very difficult for a Mawile to beat Charizard by its... Of course, Mawile often carries Rock Slide nowadays. I ran it on my Regionals team in 2014, specifically to beat Charizard, but after a Intimidate, the damage output isn't nearly as great. Just going to Fake Out Heat Wave here. He's probably going to Protect to try to stall out the Sun and the Fake Out. Oh, but he's just going to allow me to KO him, I guess. So that's going to flinch him, even if Heat Wave misses. Probably going for a Sucker Punch there. Heat Wave does connect with Mawile, though, and I am going to be able to take this first game pretty quickly, 2-0. But I guess that shows you the power of Scrafty, and not Scrafty, but really Sylveon. However, I did lead correctly, and I think that was really important. I mean, I was predicting the Hydreigon Mamoswine lead to come and start off with. I figured he'd probably want to try to counter the Charizard, which I had in the back, obviously. But because I completely outled him, I was able to get the advantage right away. And despite him KOing my Bisharp early on with that surprise superpower, you know, I was still able to come back. So pretty convincing win there. I will take it. It was definitely a scare when I saw he went for the superpower, because I'm actually carrying Life Orb on my Bisharp now over the Focus Sash, but ended up being a pretty clutch win as Charizard Y came and basically swept through. And I knew Charizard's only two Pokemon that gave me issues on my opponent's team were the Hydreigon and the Mamoswine, so by knocking those out, it really helped. Second opponent's going to be a 1722 rated player from Japan with the team of Bisharp, Kangaskhan, Togekiss, Mienshao, Rotom Wash, and Chandelure. So, pretty scary team. I can't carelessly once again lead with my Intimidators because he's got that Bisharp. Bisharp, really, really common, of course. Almost a lot of the teams I see nowadays carry it. Charizard Y is not bad here, but Kangaskhan is pretty scary to deal with, as is Mienshao, actually. I'm going to lead with Thundurus, because I can potentially paralyze his Kangaskhan, which would, of course, set up Charizard. And I'm thinking of Bisharp here in the back with Charizard, and as my last one, Scrafty is really tempting, but he can burn me with the Rotom Wash. Togekiss is Fairy, and Bisharp gets... You know what? I think I'm going to go with Landorus. Yeah, I'm going to go with Landorus because it's bulky. Yeah, Landorus at least gets another Intimidate. It gets me the Intimidate option against his Kangaskhan and his Mienshao, though I'm still debating between that and Sylveon, and his Scrafty's even not bad in this one either. You know, I'm gonna go with Sylveon, actually. Yeah, I'm going to try to paralyze the Bisharp and just knock it out with the Hyper Voice. Goal of this game is to definitely eliminate the Bisharp before anything else, because that gives me the most trouble. And then if I can paralyze the Kangaskhan, also got to avoid a potential Rock Slide from Mienshao, which can do a lot of damage, if not even knock out my Charizard. But this Charizard is really bulky. It's a modest variant, but has enough bulk to take unboosted Rock Slides from Jolly Garchomp. So I feel relatively okay with this. I mean, Scrafty is decent in this matchup, but the thing is, the fact it's slower than almost everything is scary. Of course, it gets Fake Out, but then, you know, you don't want to activate the Defiant boost onto the Bisharp, which is the main concern. And Bisharp is definitely one of the scarier Pokemon, so I'm actually going to keep both of my Intimidators out just to make sure I don't end up in situations where I give it a accidental Defiant boost. But Charizard and the Sylveon did a lot of work the last game. We'll see if it can continue that trend this time around. He's going to go with Rotom and Mienshao, right, against my Thundurus and Bisharp, which is an average lead matchup here. Not the best, but not the worst. Bunch of options here. Presumably Fake Out's going to come out from that Mienshao. I'd guess onto Bisharp, if anything. You know what? I'm going to Thunder Wave the Mienshao and just go straight for the knockoff onto Rotom. I don't want to protect with Bisharp, because if I do and he targets Thundurus with a Fake Out, then he can just use a Fighting type attack to KO me next turn. So the benefit of this turn is the only way I'm going to lose Bisharp is if he goes for a attack onto it, but even if he does, then I can just paralyze the Mienshao. He's going to go for the Fake Out onto Thundurus. Perfect, that was what I was hoping for, as I am going to get the Life Orb Admit knockoff here against Rotom Wash. Probably not going to knock it out, but does a very nice amount, as Rotom here is going to go for the Will-O-Wisp onto Bisharp. So no surprise there. And that's going to burn my Bisharp, which of course sets me back, but I will take that. That's perfectly fine with me, because now I can just Thunder Wave the Mienshao, which is what I'm going to do. And I'm just going to go for another knockoff with Rotom. If he targets my Bisharp with a Fighting type attack, then I can just knock out the Rotom. Though I'm not actually sure if I can knock it out given the fact that it doesn't have an item anymore and I am burned. But regardless, Thundurus is not very threatened as of right now. It's in a pretty decent situation. And if I can paralyze Mienshao, that would be great because it helps out the Pokemon I've got in the back. Prevents any Rock Slide shenanigans in case he does carry it. He's going to protect here with Rotom, so I'm basically guaranteed a free Thunder Wave off, and if he does target my Bisharp, and a free switch as well into whatever I've got in the back. But we'll see what attack he goes for, if he even gets one off, because of course he is going to be... Oh, wow! Fully paralyzed that turn, so... Obviously, you normally use Thunder Wave as a means of speed control, but in this case, it's actually going to help me out by preventing him from even getting an attack off. Which, of course, is really lucky on my end, but I was fine even if I lost either of my Pokemon, but he was most likely targeting Bisharp there. However, now I can just Thunderbolt and Iron Head that slot for a KO, knowing that Rotom Wash is not a very big threat as of right now. So I'm going to go for that play. It's very rare to see Mienshao carry Protect as well, and I'd really like to KO the Mienshao, mainly because it's just more of a threat, you know? Rotom Wash is kind of annoying to deal with, but given how low its HP is and the fact that it can't really touch Thundurus in terms of damaging me, I'm just going to keep it in. He is going to withdraw that Rotom, which was what I thought he might go for. In comes the... Don't recognize that name. Togekiss, okay. So I should be able to knock out Mienshao here with a T-Bolt and an Iron Head. Even though I am burned, Life Orb Iron Head should be enough. As it is. Oh, with the crit. But I think it would have been enough since Mienshao is so frail. And I do pick up a knockout there, which is great. Though him getting in the Togekiss for free is slightly concerning because I get the impression he's got Kangaskhan, and which is what he's going to bring in here. But I guess we'll find out. And that is Kangaskhan indeed. So let's see. If I were him, I'd Power Up Punch Bisharp and follow me. So I can taunt the Togekiss to prevent it from doing anything in the following turns, and go for Yeah, you know what? I'm gonna taunt Togekiss and protect with Bisharp. This can work against me, but I really think he's gonna go for the Follow Me Power-Up Punch. Though he might Power-Up Punch my Thundurus, which is the main issue of protecting there, but let's see. Yep, he does go for the Follow Me, so at least called that correctly, and by taunting it, it's not going to be able to follow me the next turn, so I can paralyze the Kangaskhan with a Thunder Wave. Power-Up Punch into Bisharp. Yes, called that correctly. So that's basically as good of a turn as it gets. Made the right calls, and it paid out. So now I can just Thunder Wave Kang. I'm gonna knock off the... You're gonna Thunder Wave the Kangaskhan, going to... You know, I'm just gonna Sucker Punch. Well, the thing is, I don't want him to switch into Rotom, but... You know what? Even if he switches into Rotom, who cares? That's not the main issue. Once I knock out Kangaskhan, I'm perfectly fine. So I'm gonna Thunder Wave and Sucker Punch it. Just to get damage off. He's gonna stay in, okay. So let's see what Kangaskhan goes for here, as I am going to get this Life Orb Sucker Punch off against it as well, which is always good. Does a good amount. Should be enough to KO it with the Overheat. Oh, he gets fully paralyzed as well! So, getting pretty lucky here with the full paras. Fire Blast here is going to connect with the Thundurus! Okay, so he probably went for another Power-Up Punch there onto my Bisharp, but isn't going to be able to get it off. And that should basically seal up the game for me, if anything, because now I can just... I'm going to Thunderbolt and Iron Head the Kangaskhan. And now a Power-Up Punch. Oh, he goes for the Dazzling Gleam. Okay. So it actually still might not be over. I should have Sucker Punched there for sure. Thundurus is going to get the T-Bolt off here, but it's not going to obviously do enough, as he gets a Power-Up Punch off as well. This is slightly concerning. I got too aggressive that last turn. I really should have Sucker Punched, and I'm letting him get back into this game with the Power-Up Punch. I don't think Taunt wears off this turn, but we'll see. This is a close game, that's for sure. Yep, Taunt does not wear off, so I can actually just bring in Sylveon and Hyper Voice, and there's not much he can do to prevent that. Unless he carries Protect, of course. So I'm going to... Thunder Bolt and Hyper Voice. If he does go for the Sucker Punch on the Thundurus, then I can just knock the Kangaskhan out with the Hyper Voice. Regardless, Sylveon's actually a pretty good check to the Kangaskhan as of right now because it's paralyzed. By it being paralyzed, it basically means that if he wants to get an attack off, he's got to go Sucker Punch. So, in retrospect, I think I could have just Thunder Waved the, Togekiss and Hyper Voice, but we'll see. It's cool to see Togekiss as the support mon instead of something like Amoonguss, which is more common, but he does go for the Sucker Punch here onto the Sylveon, actually. That makes sense. Though, okay, he goes for the Fire Blast. Yeah, I got scared for a moment because I realized he could have went for the Air Slash onto Sylveon, which actually would have given me a lot of trouble, and I realized I should have targeted Kangaskhan with Thunderbolt, but it's okay because I'm going to be able to get a knockout here. Thundurus does get the super effective T-Bolt off. Both of our Fairy type users having the Citrus Berry, which is of course very common item. And Sylveon here does get the Hyper Voice off. Should knock out Kangaskhan, as it does. With the critical hit as well. But it was in KO range at that point. So at this point I think it's a good game, especially because I've got Charizard Y in the back. But had my fair share of luck there with some full paras going my way here and there. As Rotom is going to be my opponent's last one, of course, but already damaged. And I can just go for the Thunderbolt and the Hyper Voice. There's not really much my opponent can do at this point. But yeah, that was a pretty intense battle, I'd say. The Thunder is really coming through, though, with the priority Thunder Wave, and that's one reason why I like Thundurus so much. You know, not only do you reduce their speed, but you also minimize their chances of winning immediately, which is ironic given the fact I lost the 2013 World Championships because of a Thundurus, but it really is just that good. Goes for a Dazzling Gleam there, not going to be able to do anything or anything of substantial damage as I knock out Togekiss with the Thunderbolt there. He's going to go for the Hydro Pump here onto Sylveon. Will it knock out Sylveon? It won't. You see how specially defensive my Sylveon there is, as Hyper Voice knocks out Rotom Wash, and I am able to come out with a win. So, definitely an exciting battle there. We see some newer Pokemon featured, especially the Togekiss, which has been one of the newer Pokemon, of course, allowed in VGC 15, that wasn't allowed in 14, and wasn't exactly the most common Pokemon in the past years. But now that it's Fairy type, it is substantially better, and Follow Me is just an excellent move, especially when paired with Kangaskhan. But I'd say the turn that really helped out was when I taunted it, preventing it from getting any more Follow Me's up, and then protecting with the Bisharp. That really helped out, and of course I got a bit lucky there with the paralysis in the end, but I really feel like I had the battle in the bag anyway. I hope you guys enjoyed today's episode. It was definitely pretty fun, 2 really exciting battles, and Charizard Y definitely did a lot of work as well. As always, leave a like if you enjoyed this episode and want to see one tomorrow, and yeah, that's it for today, guys. I'll see you next time. Peace.